However, they were sophisticated enough to say that I can describe God by God's attributes. Ma'at, truth, justice, righteousness, harmony, balance, reciprocity, and order. Those are attributes. She's not a goddess. She's a figure representing attributes. Monotheism comes out of Africa, not the Jews. The Jews get involved in monotheism only because they went to Africa. Circumcision. I was told the Jews are the first to circumcise folks. I did not know that circumcision comes out of Egypt. My people perish for lack of knowledge. The Ark of the Covenant comes out of Egypt. Crucifixion comes out of Egypt. The concept of giving oneself up to save someone else. Originally, crucifixion has nothing to do with a crime. It has to do with the concept of giving oneself up, to save other people. The brother in the back told us about the Immaculate Conception comes out of Egypt, on the walls over there. The Annunciation, announcing to the Virgin Mother she's going to give birth. The virgin birth comes out of Egypt. The adoration after the birth comes out of Egypt. Whole concept of temples and the Holy of Holies in temples comes out of Egypt. When I get through this list, you probably won't find anything else that's in the church that didn't come out of Egypt. The concept of the immortality of the soul comes out of Egypt. The use of incense in worship comes out of Egypt. Anointing with oil comes out of Egypt. The concept of a priesthood comes out of Egypt. The concept of a holy book, a Bible, the book of coming forth by day and by night, comes out of Egypt. Baptism comes out of Egypt. The concept of the cross comes out of Egypt. The concept of Judgment Day comes out of Egypt. The concept of resurrection comes out of Egypt. The entire Christian church comes out of Egypt. Egypt is important. Now, here's the scene, the weighing of the soul of Ani. I've told the story before for those who may be new. Here's Ani, who's died and is now going before the judgment day. Here are the witnesses of heaven, being taken by the hand to watch the heart. Is he in this, so over here in this canopic jar. Was that the feather? Was that the feather? The heart's in the canopic jar. The jar is usually a little bit larger. It's kind of small in this drawing. And the jar's on one side being balanced by the feather of Ma'at on the other side.
And in the Egyptian cosmology, when the person comes before the judgment, they say things like this: I have not committed murder. I have not slandered. I have not bribed anyone. And each time they say one of these things, one of these declarations of innocence, their heart is a little lighter. They become lighthearted to the place where their heart, even though it's in a heavy canopic jar, can balance the feather of Ma'at, truth, justice, righteousness, harmony, balance, reciprocity, and order. If they're found to be worthy, then Horus, the son of God, takes them by the hand and takes them to Osiris, God the Father. None comes to the Father except by me. Nobody comes to the Father unless I take it. If they're found unworthy, they're devoured by this creature here, who represents various animals that were dangerous to the folks in Kemet. Doing the measurement is Anubis. Anubis is a jackal-headed god, representing keen precision. The jackal is an animal that cannot eat fresh meat, nor can it eat putrefied meat. And so what happens is that the jackal kills its prey, buries it in the sand, and comes back at the precise moment between freshness and putrefaction. If I'm having my soul weighed in the balance I want somebody with good eyesight.
Sorry.
I
I want somebody with good eyesight, keen judgment, because I'm going to need all the help I can get. So that's why they use animals, because you understand the nature of the animal, then the information could not be manipulated. Writing the record is Tahuti, Thoth. And Tahuti becomes the symbol of the record keeper. When you get to heaven, who's going to read the book on you? St. Peter. That's the Egyptian St. Peter. Now, one other thing important about this drawing. This drawing illustrates the concept of how the folks in Kemet thought. I remember Flip Wilson and his favorite saying, "The devil made me do it." And that comes out of the fact that in Europe, once again, because you have no spirit, you have no center to guide you as to what's right or wrong. So when the devil's on one shoulder and the angel's on the other shoulder, you don't really know what to do. It's a crapshoot. You might choose right, you might choose wrong. So when you get to heaven and they read the stuff in the book that's negative, you say, "Hey man, that wasn't me. The devil made me do that." I got led into temptation. Remember the story of Adam and Eve? God said, why do wrong? He said, well, woman told me to do it. Woman said, snake told me to do it. Snake couldn't blame nobody. He said, yeah, I did it. Okay? Here in Kemet, it's different. You know up front what's right and what's wrong. Remember this. What did Adam and Eve get put out the garden for doing? Come on, Christians. What'd they do specifically? Oh yeah, it wasn't an apple, but they ate the fruit of the tree. The tree was the tree called the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, the tree of the knowledge of doing right from wrong. So even though they got put out the garden, when they left the garden, they knew right from wrong. Yes? So if you know right from wrong, you got a responsibility to do right. If you know right from wrong, your response to that, if you have the ability to do right rather than doing wrong, your response to that ability is called responsibility. If you know right, you got a responsibility to do right. So that the whole concept here is different than the European concept. The concept here is that you will live a just life. When judgment comes, you can stand proudly and proclaim, I knew X and Y was wrong, I didn't do it. And you can deserve being taken by Horus, by the hand, to go see God the Father. You're justified in seeking heaven. Now, here's another character in Egyptian cosmology, Khnum. He's the master potter. I put up on here one good hymns of the church. Have thine own way, Lord, have thine own way. Thou art the potter, I am the clay. Mold me and make me after thy will, while I am waiting, yielded and still. Okay? That concept of the potter comes out of Kemet. And then there's different other images that come out of Kemet. From the weighing of the soul here, that gets translated into I think a Greek story about Hermes, from the story of a boatman in Kemet which ferried the souls across the water. That gets translated into a Roman story. So we have derivations now of stories and tales coming out of Kemet that move into other cultures. We have texts that are quoted almost in total. Let's see if I can read it on here. Oh, my glasses. Let me get my glasses a second. I happen to have good eyesight. Small writing. Okay, this is the hymn of Akhenaten. The world is in darkness like the dead. Every lion cometh forth from its den. All serpents sting. Darkness reigns. Psalm 104. Thou makest the darkness and the night, and is night, wherein all the beasts of the forest do creep forth. The young lion roar after their prey. I won't read the whole thing, but all the verses, almost a total copy of what came out of the hymn of Akhenaten. And then, of course, when you compare the lives of Heru and Jesus, they're identical. By the way, the lives of most of the avatars are identical. All the avatars are said to have been born on December 25th. Why? Because that's the birth of the sun, the birth of light, the coming forth of enlightenment. So Buddha's birthday, December 25th. Heru's birthday, December 25th. Jesus' birthday, December 25th. Mithra's birthday, December 25th. And on and on and on and on. In most of these cases, we're not really talking about the people, we're talking about the concepts behind the people. And now here are the declarations of innocence. I have not committed sin. I have not committed robbery with violence. I have not stolen. Thou shalt not steal. I have not slain men or women. Thou shalt not kill. I have not uttered curses. I have not slandered. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. I have not debauched the wife of any man. Thou shalt not commit adultery. What's the difference between the phraseology of Kemet and the phraseology of the Old Testament? Kwaku?
In the Kemet version, our version, we're declaring that we have not done
Yes.
acts. In the Ten Commandments, you're being told or commanded not to do.
Yes. Yes. And because you've got two kinds of cultures on the planet, basically. You've got forming cultures and informing cultures. In a forming culture, you do what's done by the people around you. You learn how to live by living with the people around you because they're living what they say they're living. I don't know about your grandma, but my grandmother said, don't smoke. I never saw her with a cigarette in the hand. I could live a perfect life by just doing what my grandma did. That's part of a forming culture. Black culture, African culture was a forming culture. European culture is an informing culture. They tell you what to do. And this goes back to what we've been talking about before. If you have spirit inside of you, you've got a guide. You know what's right and what's wrong. And you simply just do what's right. If people around you are not doing what's right, you can't observe any right going on around you. They've got to tell you what to do. That's part of the problem in the story of Adam and Eve. In the story of Adam and Eve, as long as Adam and Eve stayed ignorant, they had to be told what to do. It was dangerous to the European concept of God to have people that knew what to do because then they didn't need to be told. Okay? So you can hear it even in the tone of how the different things are phrased. I have not done so and so. Thou shalt not. Okay? I have not diminished my words in speaking. I've not multiplied my words in speaking. Boasting. I have wronged none. I've done no evil. I've not made light the bushel. That's cheating folks, swindling. I I have not turned a deaf ear to the words of truth. Oh, my goodness. I've made no one to weep. I've not stopped or, I can't read the word, the flow of water. I've not caused water to stop flowing. I've not increased my wealth except through just things that are justly my own. I have not acted in a violent or oppressive manner. I once heard a Jewish comedian, Myron Cohen, on Ed Sullivan's show. And, of course, he said this years ago, and most of the people didn't catch what he was saying. I didn't catch it at the time, but I remembered it because it sounded interesting. I said to myself, remember that, because someday you understand it. Myron Cohen said, yes, it was true that the Hebrews originally had 142 commandments. He said, but Moses chose the 10 he liked the best. Yeah, Myron Cohen, old Jewish comedian. He said, yes, there originally was 142 commandments, but Moses chose the 10 he liked the best. I have not read why there were 10 commandments, but again, once you get into an African frame of mind, certain things become logical. Egypt, they wrote in stone. They could support 142 commandments because they had the mechanism there to support it. The Hebrews, the word haribu means wanderer. You can't give a wandering people 142 of nothing. You give them one for each finger. That's probably how it ended up with 10. And I didn't go back and look in the Bible to get the exact verse, but it's in Exodus somewhere. It says that Moses was schooled in all the ways of the Egyptians. So certainly he knew what the commandments were. And again, when you get the right frame of reference, some of the stuff that, all your life you just let go by, don't make any sense anymore. When does Moses get the 10 commandments from God? He goes to the mountain. Does it go to the mountain before or after they leave Egypt? After. Now, before he went to Egypt to free the folks, he'd been hiding out because of what? Because he killed somebody. Huh? How could it be murder before God says thou shalt not kill? Okay? That's right. That's right. Because he was an Egyptian. He knew what it was. He knew what the score was. But just little simple things like that. In church, you never hook up. Kwaku, so your hand.
Yeah, I think that's Acts 7, the 21st verse.
Okay.
Moses was mighty in word and in deed.
Learned in all the ways of the Egyptians.
Acts 7:21.
Yes.
Acts 7:21. Okay.
They just had a piece on the history channel. One of those channels I recorded, I can't remember.
Look how peaceful he is. I love
And
that.
they actually said in the piece that Moses was an Egyptian.
Yeah.
They actually were talking about it. They
Yeah.
were talking about the mythology. Did it really happen and all that stuff.
And most church folk probably missed that.
They probably did.
Yeah. Now, these are some of the scenes from A Wall in Kemet that once again talk about the Annunciation, the visiting of the Magi and whatnot, all those things that come from out of Egypt. Here's the good old Pope. I went back and found the pictures that I'm showing there because I want you to see that the clothes the Pope wears comes out of Kemet. The Pope is the modern Pharaoh. Now, not just Christianity. There were two main concepts in Kemet. One's the concept of the Ka. The Ka is the double that lingers in the tomb, inhabiting the body or even the statues of the deceased. So the Ka is the part of spirit that stays with your corpse. The ba is represented by a human-headed bird, was the part that goes back to God after you die. So you had two parts to your spirit, one that stayed with the body, the ka, and the other part that goes back to God, the ba. Why is that important? Well, in Jewish mysticism, you've got a system called the Kabbalah. Kabbalah. That's the Jewish mystery system, by the way. And this stone here in the middle of Mecca is called the Kaaba stone. It is long.
The word is
Getting around. Okay? Again, right out of Kemet. By the way, this black meteorite was in the family of Prophet Muhammad, according to what I've read, long before Islam was formed. It was a black meteorite that fallen out the sky. His family had guarded it for a number of years before the religion was formed, and of course that was sacred to them. And so when he formed the religion, he made it sacred to Islam. Yes.
Kabbalah, that's been around, that's made part of Jewish religion, been around for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
It's popular now with a
Madonna.
lot of white celebrities,
Yeah, yeah.
I wondered how that just kind of picked up all of a sudden.
Just like we become African-centered from time to time, go back and study stuff, they find stuff that relates to them, try to study it.
So this word, ka, you break it down
Yeah,
again, ka
yeah.
meant something, ba meant
Ka and ba, yeah.
what was it again? Ka meant what?
The ka was the part of the spirit that remained with the corpse after death. In life, the ka and the ba are joined together.
Yeah, but
After death, the ka remains with the corpse. The ba goes back to God. Okay? I decided to show this because in many pictures you'll see the sun globe above the